Welcome to CPG Vibes. No scripts,
Just chat.
I'm Alex Baer.
And I'm Wade Yenny.
Each episode is recorded live, and we talk all things food and beverage, and so much more.
Feel our vibe and search for CPG Vibes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and make sure to give us a 5-star review.
If you'd like to sponsor our show with your product or service, email us at cpgvibes100@gmail.com.
Now, let's vibe.
All right, welcome to episode, I had to look it up, I believe we're on 125 of CPG Vibes. Wade, did you get the memo to wear the white shirt? You sure did. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's fabulous. It's Friday, and I have to shout out before we even get too far into this. Tia's here. She hasn't been here a while. Hey, Tia, what's up? Check this out.
Nice.
Wandering Bear. Yes, I did get the memo. But no, it's good. It's been a good week. I'm excited about our show. It's going to be a good one, but I'm sure we have a lot of stuff to cover before we get going. How about you?
Stuff. Yeah, no, things are well. It's been actually a very fast week. I've had probably 40% of my meetings reschedule. I don't know if you've been seeing this happening, or is it just me personally? But a lot of people are still catching up from the holiday weekend. They're like, oh shit, I cannot meet today. Let me push it next week. Is that happening with you, or is that just
for me, it's a little bit different scenario. It's I'm officially entered the sales role here, so to speak. I'm business development and brand management at V-Driven. Cheap plug.
That's sales.
Yes. But my aspect isn't the sales of the retailers. It's more sales with our clients. But I occasionally get ghosted. So I'm like on my Zoom, I'm waiting for somebody and they don't show up. So it's been a little bit of an adjustment period, getting used to that aspect of things, but it's been going great. I made a post, I think yesterday, the day before, whenever I celebrated a month into the new role this week, and just really enjoying it. I've talked to so many people, so many brands, hearing so many stories, and it's exactly what I was looking for in a new role, and especially this one. I knew what it was going to be, which is it's just being back connected with the community and so many people that are either starting their journey or kind of at a crossroads on their journey. It's just been fabulous. So things are going great.
Awesome. Yeah. Hashtag don't ghost Wade. Right.
That's right.
But the tables have turned, my friend, right? When you're on the buyer side.
Exactly.
If anyone's going to ghost anyone, it's going to be you, right? If it does happen. But now that you're on the sales biz dev side, it's just kind of comes with the territory. It's par for the course, as they say in golf terms. And I'm definitely used to that. So I'm glad that it's not a personal thing. I'm not getting all these meetings rescheduled, that it is a sign of just the week after a holiday, a big long holiday weekend.
Let's chalk it up to that. Let's use that.
Yeah.
It's not personal. It's not us.
It's
not us, it's them. It's not us, it's them. Right.
Or if it's not personal, it's business, right? As they say in like Wall Street, right? In all those movies. And then shouting out Weird Water and Weird Tea. I'm wearing the shirt for those that are watching live. Something weird is happening. And I think this is the theme of my life when I show up anywhere in public. Something weird is going to happen when I show up. So here's a t-shirt. Is there anything on the back here? Or no.
Yeah, there is. There's some kind
of.
Okay, there's something. It says something tea. I don't know. Weird tea. It says the weird tea and some kind of logo of some kind. So
something.
Yeah.
I just showed my ball spot. Great. All right. So let's get to our laundry list items here. And by the way, this is a special edition episode, Outside the Tank, Volume 2. We're going to be joined by, in no particular order, Debbie Mullin with Copper Cow Coffee, Justin Fenchel with BeatBox Beverages, and Jimmy DeCicco, already messed up someone's name, the co-founder of Super Coffee. So make sure to, they're going to be hopping in at the 15 mark, and they're going to talk about, which is shortly, about 7-8 minutes from now.
And the other thing I want to remind people, because I know these episodes tend to draw a larger audience, if you're just tuning in for the first time, or if it's been a minute since you've tuned into the show, we have a prize at the end of the show. And the way you win that prize is somewhere during this episode, we'll talk about something, we'll ask a question. So take notes, pay attention, listen, stay for the duration of the show. The prize this week is a nice one. I think it's going to be attractive to many people. So make sure you stick around and pay attention. And if you answer the question correctly, you can win the prize.
Yeah, we'll say what the prize is, right? It's okay to say that.
Sure.
So, I mean,
Yeah, let's do it.
it's cash is king, right? In this economy, it's $100 Visa gift card, courtesy of MDM Packaging, who is our weekly sponsor for this episode. So, let's get into it with that segue. So, we're the #1 rated CPG podcast in the world at this point. To keep it that way, make sure to go to Apple Podcast and to give us 5 stars. Please, please, please do that. It takes 2 seconds. Get your own phone, steal someone else's phone, go to Apple Podcast or Spotify and give us 5 stars. We also have sponsorship and block rates. So you can email cpgvibes100@gmail.com in order to take advantage of that. And we do have some openings starting actually in October. Let me see here. Actually, it's pretty much booked out until December. That's what I'm seeing here.
So the point with that is don't wait. Reach out
wait.
now so that you can get on the list for sponsors. We've got great sponsors. We also have a YouTube channel that I just posted the link for with most of the old episodes, at least 80 plus, and the new ones actually, as of a few weeks ago, are actually streamed live there as well. So you can see old episode under the video portion of the YouTube channel. You can see the recent streamed ones live under the live tab on the YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out.
Definitely. And then our ongoing sponsors are V-Driven and Range Me. And we're going to post that here. I'll need your help on that one. But essentially, the ongoing sponsors, starting with Range Me. Range Me helps brands drive awareness and engagement with retailers through an easy-to-use platform that has more than 15,000 buyers. Listeners can get discounts on Range Me Premium and Pro subscriptions, which include benefits such as direct product submissions to retailers, access to Nielsen IQ category data, and in-person meetings with buyers at ECRM sessions. That's Joe Tarnowski. And so it's just a great way. You submit it online. You get access to all these category managers, buyers, VP of center store, and you can basically get your item in front of them digitally and get a meeting, hopefully by video or by phone, and you can get your items in. So it's a great conduit to expanding your business through RangeMe, rangeme.com/CPG Vibes. And make sure to mention CPG Vibes to get a discount on their premium and pro subscriptions.
Well, what I love about that, I'm looking at that now. The premium subscription is $13.99 a year.
That's a great deal.
And well, no, that's a great deal as is. But with our discount, it's $9.99 a year. So you
even better deal.
Save $400. The pro subscription is normally $2,500 a year, and with our code and mentioning us and referring from us, it'll be $1,700 a year. So, I mean, just a significant $800. That's almost 30% savings. Very generous, well worth your time, as Alex mentioned. So that's fantastic.
Definitely. And with Genius Juice, we were running it for many years. We were on RangeMe, where we were members for many, many years. And I know, Wade, when you were on the buying side, you were also approached through RangeMe quite a bit. So it definitely does work.
Absolutely. And I also attended several of their ECRM events in person as well. So just great stuff for connecting brands, buyers, and just their events, class acts across the board.
Nice. Exactly. So, and then V-Driven, who Wade is no stranger to, but to avoid conflict of interest, I will talk about what they do, saying that kind of facetiously, but they're a leading consulting and brand management firm specializing in strategic guidance and brand representation for emerging and mid-sized CPG brands, offering services from direct sales to key national retailers, CPG accounting. They're very affordable accounting at the back office side. If you need someone to look at your books and close it out each month, which is a very important thing in this business to have clean books. And they also do deduction management, which is very, very important to making sure you're not getting overcharged with erroneous charges. They take a look at those. They have a team in the Philippines that also helps with this in a more affordable way to fight these deductions and make sure that you're getting as much money back as you can from the distributors if there is a chargeback. What I really personally, what I loved about V-Driven were the access to buyers, like the relationships, the fact that Brandon, congratulations. I think you just celebrated something on LinkedIn, right?
Anniversary.
Yep.
Yeah. Work anniversary. Yep.
Work anniversary. Yeah. So Brandon Mahin, he's one of the guys over at V-Driven that works with Wade, and they just have access to a lot of buyers, a lot of relationships. He and Luke Abbott, the CEO, fly all over the country to meet with buyers, build a relationship. So when they have a brand right under their wing, they can bring it out at a dinner table. Doesn't have to be an office table, because that's the relationship that Be Driven has with buyers nationally. So make sure to reach out to them.
Do you know what the best part about it is, Alex? If you click on that link, if you click on that link there that I put, the V Driven link, guess who you're going to speak to initially? This guy.
Right here.
You're going to reach out. We're gonna schedule. And I see Joseph just joined in the chat. Spoke to him this week. It was a great conversation, just yesterday, as a matter of fact. So reach out to me, and Alex just went through the list of services we offer at V Driven. But just if you have questions or just want to jump on the phone to talk, or Zoom, what have you, reach out and you'll connect with me.
Love it. And I'm displaying the comments, which it's a lot easier now to display it. They fixed that little bug that was covering the comment bar. So
yes,
go Restream, our new partners for streaming, both on LinkedIn and also another plug on YouTube. And it's streaming live literally right now on YouTube. If you're in the car and you would rather do it on YouTube versus LinkedIn. So, okay. Then the last thing to mention is also, again, we have our weekly sponsor, MDM Packaging. We'll have a $100 gift card prize at the end of the episode, so make sure to stay tuned. At the very end, we'll ask a trivia question that someone mentioned, and you can win that $100 cash, basically, at the end. But also, we have a Venmo. So if you'd like to donate to our show, it's basically just go on Venmo and search for CPG Vibes. And we can display that. Do we have the Venmo there? I know we have a little QR code. There it is. I got it. Got it. Yep. Boom. Upper left corner, scan that, donate to us. So, and we can, afford hats and drinks and whatever we need to run the show.
Wandering Bear t-shirts.
We need to buy more of those. We need more.
Yes. Something
weird is happening and you want to be part of this movement. So make sure to donate. So, all right. So with all that said, we're going to bring on our guests. And again, this is the Outside the Tank Volume 2. And we have 3 guests that appeared on Shark Tank in varying years, all the way back from 2017 to 2020, I think even 2016, maybe 2015, all the way through to 2021. So varying years, different ways they taped it, different ways, different sharks on all these episodes. So we're going to get the story from each and every entrepreneur here. So without further ado, we're going to bring on, we have Debbie Mullin, and she is with Copper Cow Coffee. Justin Fenchel, he is the co-founder of BeatBox Beverages, which is basically in every liquor store known to man. And then we have Jimmy DeCicco, didn't mess up his name that time, and he's the co-founder of Super Coffee. So let's bring him on. And Jimmy there, we'll get his video on in a second. But how you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Excellent. Thanks for having us.
Welcome.
Definitely. And I think Jimmy is in a bat cave right now. That's why it's so dark. So
we're making it happen.
And making it happen. There you go. All right. So hope you guys are doing well. This is a very exciting episode. We're going to have a bunch of questions. We're going to go through and ask these questions to each entrepreneur here. And so, and again, thank you for taking the time on a Friday afternoon to do this. We really appreciate all of you for being here. So we're going to start, we're going to go kind of round robin. We're going to go it's clockwise. I'm dyslexic. It's clockwise. We're going to start with Debbie. Want to introduce yourself, where you're from, which everyone already knows since I just said it. And then also one thing about you that we probably do not know, they really never said in public, some interesting factoid. So we're going to start with you. No pressure.
Okay. Fun. I'm Debbie. I'm the CEO and founder of Copper Cow Coffee. I'm based in Los Angeles, California. And something that I haven't said in public, I'm like, I can say something that I think you probably wouldn't know about me, which is that my senior year of high school, I was the captain of my high school wrestling team. So that is a random factoid for you. Yeah.
Nice. Love it.
Wow. I did not know that about you. So don't mess with her. She will body slam you through a table, WWE style. All right. So great. Thanks for being on the show. And then Justin, my man, what's up?
How's it going, everybody? My name's Justin Fenchel. I am one of the co-founders and CEO at BeatBox Beverages, based out of Austin, Texas. Something about me, I'll go back to high school and in college. I played football in high school and Division III football in college, and I was a Division III All-American in football. So there you go. You know, two athletes on the call.
Love it. I love it.
Wow. We just leveled up this entire show.
I feel like I need to go out and run a couple laps or something to compete here. I feel out.
We're definitely outmatched here. So, and then Jimmy will be back. He's actually broadcasting from a very low reception area, so he'll be jumping back in. But we're also joined by Jim DeCicco, and he is the co-founder of Super Coffee. So he'll be hopping back in a minute. And I guess Robert Kogan is asking position, I think co-founder, right? BeatBox. Oh no, position in football.
Football. Yeah.
I was a quarterback, believe it or not. Somehow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Love it. All right. So the Brett Favre. All right. So let's go into our questions here. I'm going to start ladies first, right? Always. So, we're going to start with a question with Debbie here. Let's see. What shall I pick? Okay. So, why did you want to be on Shark Tank? Was it for raising money? Was it for the exposure? Or was it for all the above? Tell us more about your thought process.
It was honestly really for the exposure. I tried to get on the show for years. So maybe early on, I think I might have been a little bit more open to, considering trying to get an investment. But by the time we were on, we were growing pretty fast. So I was just really, really focused on trying to get the exposure, having that, 5 to 8 minute amazing emotional commercial televised nationally was something that I just was really excited about. But if you're ever, I was advised and realized after several years of trying to get on the show is that if they ask you why you want to be on the show, you should always say it's for the investment, not for the exposure.
Yeah, they have like that term. It's like whatever they call it, where the brand is only on for exposure and really doesn't want the money. And when sharks pick up on that, they absolutely hate it. But in your episode, I literally just rewatched it right before this live taping. You definitely had the impression of, I'd like to partner up with a shark, raise some money, and build this thing. So you came off on the right way on the show.
Good.
And then Justin, I think same question for you. What was the main original reason why you wanted to be on that show?
Yeah, I mean, and crazy enough, we actually filmed for Shark Tank and last week of June 2014.
2014.
We just crossed 10 years since we filmed for Shark Tank, which is pretty wild. What a decade it's been. But going back then, we had just finished. We had graduated from grad school. We were kind of using BeatBox as like a class project. We were self-distributing the product around town and doing tons and tons of tastings. I mean, every weekend, myself and our other co-founders were just in the stores doing samplings, getting the product out there. And of course, everybody, while you're doing that, is like, oh, you should go on Shark Tank, as if you just pop on into Culver City and walk onto the set. But it kind of made us excited about applying, and we needed to raise money. I mean, that was a big piece of it. We were already talking to a lot of angels and different folks in Austin who might be interested. Of course, if you have a chance to be on national TV with your product and the exposure that brings, you're not going to say no to that. So that's always I think a key component to it. But we needed to raise money to accelerate our business. So combination of the funds we needed and the exposure we felt we could get.
Excellent. So Justin, I'll stick with you and ask you, when you were on the show, where were you at in the journey? How far along were you revenue wise? And when you taped the show, and then we'll go over to Debbie with the same question.
Yeah. So we had been, we had been working on the idea for from 2011 to 2013, really kind of 2012, 2013, figuring out what product we were going to have and how we would get it to market and all of that. And we started to self-distribute BeatBox as a winery. We were a winery in Texas. That was the only way we could get going. We didn't have a distributor that would pick us up. And we self-distributed for about 9-10 months, and then finally got picked up by a distributor in January 2014. And then 6 months later, we were on Shark Tank. So call it 14, 15 months of actually being in the market with our, first version of BeatBox. And we had done just shy of 250,000 in sales over those 14 months. But I do remember it was pretty funny because, our sales were sales to distributors. And back in like April or May, when we knew we were going to be going to California to film, I reached out to our distributor and I said, look, I can't tell you too much information, but there might be a show that you've heard of that we're going to be potentially going on. And if you can make your order a little bit bigger than it normally would be, that would be helpful. And so they upped their purchase order. That would have been maybe $60,000 or $70,000 of product to about $120,000. And so we were able to kind of say, okay, we've done 240,000 in 14 months, but half of that has come just in the last 3. So that was a nice little boost.
Excellent. So Debbie, same question for you.
So we were in a really interesting juncture when we filmed because we filmed at the height of COVID. So the season that I taped was the first thing that was greenlit once COVID hit. And so we filmed in August 2020. So everything had been shut down. They had rented out like a huge thing in Vegas for the taping. I had to sit in a hotel room by myself for 10 days. And we had just gone through like all types of crazy things as a company as a result. So right up until COVID, our fastest growing segment was actually hotels and offices. And so that kind of evaporated overnight. But instantly, though, we started to grow really, really fast online. And I remember the month that we had filmed, I think we had made, like in the last quarter, the same amount of money we had made the previous year. So we had been growing really, really fast when we actually filmed.
Yeah, it's insane especially when you're a younger brand, how within 48 hours, the dramatic effect that something like Shark Tank has, right? And, airing, having 3 to 4 million people on. And then during, Justin's era, it's actually interesting on Wikipedia, you can Google how many people watched every episode. And there was a time like right around when Justin was on where it was like 5, 6, 7 million. And then as it went to COVID, 18, 19, it went back down. And then when COVID hit, it went back up because everyone's at home and they have nothing else to do. And one of our previous episode of Outside the Tank, Michael Pan, he went through the same thing you did, Debbie, where he was in a room for 10 days at the Venetian. Yeah. And it was brutal. So a question I have, I'm going to bring it back to you, Debbie. I've been on Shark Tank as well, Genius Juice. We aired in 2020. We taped it in 2019. When you're standing behind those doors, before the doors open, and you're just about to go out, and the producers are yelling at you like, okay, we're going to do this and do that, open the door. And what was going through your mind, and what did you do to calm down, to get ready like game face for the taping?
I don't know. I think I was just like, I got to get a deal. Like that was something that I was just very, 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 very clear on. I love to pitch. So I think that made it not so bad. I think I wasn't really prepared for like the style of the way that the actual pitch happened. So I think that it was really wonderful. I think what I tell people a lot who are thinking about being on Shark Tank is that, because you might even get taped, but you might not get filmed. But I do feel like I had, I don't know, 40 hours of really amazing media training through all the producers that help you through to get you through all of the rounds of auditions for them to be able, because for them, they're incentivized. They want the people who have been assigned to them to make it to being filmed, to being aired. And so you get so much media training. So I think just having a lot of faith in that, I learned a lot in the process, and being focused on that and being like, this is going to be kind of the finale of that long learning process of learning how to pitch on national television. Yeah.
And then, my process was different. I just drank a ton of magnesium before going out. I was like, it was really weird. I'm like, they're like, we've never seen a Shark Tank brand. I had a mason jar of magnesium. Like I had water, and then I had enough magnesium to last me for the day to keep me calm. Because it was a high strung moment. Jimmy, we're going to pull you into this. Can you hear us okay? Okay, I guess we're not hearing him here. So Jimmy, we'll come back to you. Just shout out when you're back on audio wise. Justin, there was a deal, right, with Mark Cuban, and assuming that the deal went through, right?
Yes.
Okay. Both. Yep. And so how has it been working with his team in the last, we kind of talked about this at Beverage Forum a little bit when we met up, but like, how has it been working with his team? Is he as engaged as he was when he first invested? Is he more like here at a resource for you when and if you need him? How engaged has he been now versus when he first invested, 9-10 years ago?
Yeah, no, I mean, when we first got the deal with Mark, and it was a big deal, and we were super excited, and we met with him quite a bit. I mean, I remember being in Dallas even before we officially closed the deal, and we sat down for 3 hours, just like whiteboarding, along with Brad and Amy as well, and we were whiteboarding, how we were going to grow this business. He came to a tasting we did in Indy, where he went to school at Indiana University. There was a liquor store right by the campus that he stood for 3 hours, signed all these boxes of people waiting in line. He would come to Austin for South by Southwest and would, help us get into a couple bars. And we actually filmed Beyond the Tank very shortly after the Shark Tank episode, about a year after that. So there was a lot of involvement and a lot of help. In 2017, because of the way, I don't need to get into all the details of how the alcohol laws are, but you can't own, it's a 3-tier system where you can't own multiple parts of the tier of 2 tiers. So in the sense, you can't own BeatBox and a restaurant. You can't own BeatBox and a distributor of alcohol. You can't have 2 of the 3. So he built a very, very large commercial development property in Dallas that owned a bunch of bars and restaurants. And so because of that, he ended up transferring his shares to his brother, Jeff Cuban, who came down to Austin that same day and is on our board of directors. And we are very, very involved with and talk, every other day almost. So, and then Mark has been involved he came, we had our company summit, not this one from January this year, but the January before that was in Dallas. And he actually spoke for an hour to our whole company about competition and just free questions and all that. So that was really, really cool. He was in South by. So it's been, I would say, it's not as, hands-on as it was in the first couple of years. Certainly his brother's been, but we have a partnership with the Mavericks. And so being able to have BeatBox there at the stadiums and all that good stuff. He's been a tremendous partner, and having his name attached to us, especially in our early stages, when we were doing something very different and very unique in beverage alcohol that no one really understood from the industry. And so when you had that national exposure with Mark investing that much money, it was like this entrepreneurial stamp of approval that, hey, if Mark believes this is a good idea, maybe I should too. And I think it opened a lot of doors in that way.
One thing I'll quickly add, and then we're gonna switch back over to Debbie, is when I saw it air live, I remember the total deal, the amount invested was over $1 million, right? Or was it at $1 million?
It was $1 million.
Was that $1 million? Was that the largest investment at that time in Shark Tank history?
It was like the 4th. So he had done $2 million into like a haunted hayride company. Okay. And I think there was one other deal. It was like 3rd or 4th biggest in terms of dollars in the show's history at the time. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
And last question, and again, we'll go to Debbie. Whatever you feel comfortable answering. What were you at in revenue when you taped on Shark Tank, and where are you at in revenue now, approximately? I'm so curious, to know that before and after.
It's been a wild 10-year ride with many, many ups and downs. In fact, probably 4 or 5 times throughout 2016, 17, 18, where we were like, why are we doing this? We're about to go. We almost went out of business so many times. It's like Shark Tank is just when it all starts. But as I said, we had done about 250,000 when we filmed Shark Tank, and I will say in the last 12 months we've done over 160 million. Wow. So we're tracking. We did 100 million last year. That was an amazing milestone, and we are tracking up 100% so far in 2024. So it's from potentially 200,000 to 200 million is a 10-year journey, which is just wild to say out loud, honestly.
Congratulations. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So we might as well go right to your story as well, Debbie. So did you get a deal? If you got a deal, what was the deal? Who was it with? And the before and after, kind of like Justin just went through.
So on the show, we got a deal with Robert, and the deal ended up not going through, I think is what, which happens
Right.
more often than not, actually, on the show. Excuse me. And for us, because we were growing so fast at the time, we were by the time we were filming, we had already kicked off a fundraise. So we were in the middle of fundraising for the company to raise our Series A when we taped. And so in order for us to go into diligence with Robert, because it's not like they really make the decision off of that hour pitch. Obviously, they're going to go into diligence just like any other investor. And so even just to go into diligence, they required exclusivity. And that was we would have to kind of sign this like letter of intent. And because we were already in active conversations with other investors, we weren't able to move forward. And it was actually kind of a non-starter for them if there wasn't exclusivity with that investment, because they don't want you to be going around and shopping around that deal to drive up the price or to change any of the terms. And so we ended up not even going into diligence because of that reason.
Got you. And if you're able to share or what you're comfortable sharing before and after, how does that look?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think about where we were at. We're not 250,000 to 200 million. That is pretty epic. But we're probably about 4 to 5 times as big as we are when we aired. And I think that we basically kind of doubled overnight from the Shark Tank airing at the time.
So I think that's a good segue into what I would like to ask next for both of you is from a supply chain standpoint. You went double 2x overnight. What kind of complications did you have? You're on the show, you're selling here, and then overnight you're selling here. Did you have any issues with supply and demand? Did you have periods where you were out of stock? How did that look for you?
Go ahead, Debbie.
Okay. So for us, we were primarily D2C at the time when we aired. So we taped in 2020. We aired as a season finale in 2021. So this was May 2021. Or was it May 20? Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yep.
So I'm like, it took a long time. I remember just taking a really long time, and we had taken it out of the forecast because when you're the season finale, you're like, oh, it's not happening. Because they only tell you a couple weeks before you air. And we did everything we could to quickly prepare. If everybody who's involved in CPG remembers that 2021 was a really terrible supply chain time. So I remember we had planned for it though and had ordered as much as we could before, but had been like holding on to that stock for many months as we were thinking about what was going to happen. So I remember we did feel like there was a missed opportunity because the main place that we sold out on was Amazon. And that would have been, I remember us being all really regretful about it. Was really impossible because Amazon's only going to let you stock as much as you can from historical sales data. You can't really talk to them and say like, hey, we're about to have this moment. Because I remember even with all the prep that we were able to do, I think we had like a 40x sales that day on that channel. And so it just was like and then it would have been much more if we had not sold out so quickly.
Yeah, there's one thing about that a lot of people don't know how, ABC, right, that owns Shark Tank, how they work. At least for my season, which was season 11, episode 12 for Genius Juice, they don't tell you if you're going to air after the taping. The producers are like, that was so good, I think you're going to air. Like that's basically the extent of it. And they're not
never a commitment. No commitments ever by them.
No commitments. It's in the contract. What's also in the contract is they can take your entire episode of usually over an hour of taping and they can edit it together however the hell they want. That's another thing, kind of a little nugget that a lot of people don't know. But relating to them notifying you when you air or when, if you're going to air and then when you're going to air, for us, it was 3 weeks before the airing. they let us know. I remember finding out like late December, right around Christmas time. I was at a restaurant and I saw it on my phone and I stood up like, yes, like right in the middle of the restaurant. It wasn't that loud, and then we aired in January. The key thing I want to say is that supply chain wise, I can only imagine the hell you went through in 2021 to like order things to ramp up your production to handle that demand. But for Genius Juice, we internationally source coconuts, and there was no way around that. It wasn't warehoused in the US. There's no coconut groves in the US. So there was a turnaround of 3 to 4 months in order to get product. We just got lucky where we had an enormous production 2 weeks before the airing. And so we were able to supply every single person within a month, right, through the 3PL. So going back to it, how was it ramping up for that? Let's go to back to Justin here. Ramping up for supplying, customers, distributors, D2C, right? How was that process for you, and were you able to fulfill all the orders?
Yeah. So, for us, we are very different than D2C because it's alcohol. So that was a big challenge, right? Because I think, as you pointed out, it was close to like 6.5, 7 million people that saw the show, and we were in 100 accounts in Texas. So, there wasn't a whole lot, unless you lived in the Austin or nearby area. There weren't really too many places to go. What we did do was we tried rapidly to line up, because we handshake agreement with Mark in June, but we didn't close the deal till September, and we aired in October, right? End of October. And so the reason was because, again, understanding the nuances of the alcohol laws and different things that Mark had owned, and how can we structure the deal where he could legally do it. So that was a big challenge, and it took a lot of time. At the same time, we were like out of money trying to, order product to do a big run, because we had a pretty decent feeling that this episode was going to air. And so it was managing all of that and working with our manufacturer to say, hey, look, like, let's just count, it's going to happen. We gotta be ready to go. And we got, I think, permits to ship wine in 20 states. And so we put together like, a Shark Tank pack, but I think we only did like 40 or 50 grand in sales when the show aired total. And, we of course had sell through at the 100 some stores we were in, because people went to go buy it, but it wasn't this huge splash that if you're D2C, you typically would see. We're not like a QVC type of, or direct to consumer in any sense type of product. So, but yeah, I mean, it was more the leads we got, right, for future of like distributors reaching out and retailers reaching out. That was a huge impact.
So with that, Justin, now, reruns air and all the time on CNBC. I'm assuming both of you, and I want to ask both of you, I'm sure your episodes are repeating occasionally, whether it's a couple times a year. I don't know the cadence there, but when that happens, if it's still happening, what are the spikes like that you're seeing now when those shows come back on?
Early on, there was some big spikes because we re-aired on ABC, during the holidays when they're showing basically the previous season's episodes. So that was a big one, but and maybe a couple of the CNBC ones here and there but now at this point it's almost, we don't even really notice.
And Debbie, how about with you?
We can actually always see because we just the sensitivity on Amazon, and it's always like, what what happened? And it's always like, it happened at 7 p.m. And so it's always like pretty clear. You search around, you find out. Even sometimes it just airs like locally in like just Michigan, in a random syndicate, and you can always kind of feel it on the direct to consumer.
Nice.
Yeah. And one thing I'll point out too, I wanted to touch on one thing on the BeatBox thing that I have a question for Debbie, is you had a different packaging format, like a multi-serve bag and box for Shark Tank. But then when I saw your Where Are They Now, or company update episode, you pivoted completely to a single serve. Is that correct?
That is 100% correct. Yep. We started with a 5-liter bag and box, 34 servings of Party Punch in a box. And, we were very new to the alcohol industry, and we had no idea what we were getting into. And we had a distributor in Texas, a wine and spirits distributor, who also had, partnerships with themselves in like 30 states. And so we ended up expanding really far, really fast, way too fast after Shark Tank, signing distribution deals in like 30 states. And the 5-liter box, while it was super cool, was anywhere from $20 to $26. It was very confusing. It was a first of its kind product that required a lot of consumer education, a lot of very expensive samplings. And we realized that we needed something that was like a trial size, that was approachable, that we could run with. And so in 2017, we ended up raising a Series A round to launch the single serve. And then ultimately in 2018, actually switching our entire distribution network to the beer distributors. And that's when things, I talk about the where we are today, but from 2014 through 2018, we barely passed $1 million in sales in like 2017. So it was like 5 years of like, what the heck is going on here? We just can't figure this out. But in alcohol, you really got to have the right product, the right distribution network, the right marketing, and everything has to work or none of it works. And so it took a while to get there. But yeah, now single serve 500 ml Tetra Pak that you can see in my background here is about like 95% of our sales. We do have a 6-pack multi-pack variety pack that is growing fast. It's actually close to 5-7% of our revenue. And then we do bring the bag back though, kind of like the McRib. And actually we will be bringing it back again in the next month. So we do like a 2-month in and out where people can actually buy the bag and box. Because now that people know the brand, they're like, wait a minute, you had a bag? Like how? Like I want that. But it was not the product to lead with.
Right. It kind of goes to show you that never give up, continue to pivot until it could potentially work. And you guys took 4 years to do $1 million in sales, and now you're at 160 million by getting the right packaging, the right format, the right distribution, the right partners. So that's a case in point right there. Never give up.
One of my old bosses told me you got to stay alive long enough until you figure it out.
Exactly. So Debbie, question for you, and then we're going to take a pause and list out our sponsors here. And remember, $100 Visa gift card by MDM Packaging given out the end of the episode, at the top of the hour, bottom of the hour. And so make sure to pay attention. Something that someone mentions, either Debbie or Justin or Wade. I'm not going to ask something I mentioned because everything I say is gibberish. You answer the question, you'll win a prize, $100 gift card from our weekly sponsor. So Debbie, this is a fun question I love. What happened during taping that was really notable that you remember that did not make it to air?
I think what was really notable was just how much it was like, for some of the sharks, it just felt like such a real pitch. And then for some sharks, it just felt like they were just saying that, like, some things that they had kind of written for themselves to be able to say. And I think I was taken aback by the dialogue that I had with Mark Cuban, because I kind of went into it like, I don't know. I kind of went into it thinking that he wasn't going to really be a contender for investing, and he was by far the most engaged. He was honestly the most excited about it. At the very end, he almost made an offer, and then just decided, he's like, I think you're just going to need a lot more money to raise, and I just don't know if this is what I'm going to do. If I'm going to be the right partner for that. And so I think that I was surprised that didn't go into air. I remember though, I was 6 months pregnant when I taped, and I remember being like, that was like a strategic thing about being like, no one's going to make me look bad. Like, they're not going to edit it to make like the pregnant woman look like an idiot. So that was a big strategy of mine to make sure that I wasn't going to be one of the jokes of the Shark Tank airings.
Got it. And then I remember that they were talking about the valuation, and they're like, I again, just watching the episode, like, oh, wow, that's such a high valuation. Even though you were going to do 4 million in sales that year, you're on track to do that. I think the valuation was it 15 million or something, or 20 million? What was it again?
I think I said 15 million was what my initial was. Yeah.
Which is really reasonable. And then was there anything that they mentioned that never made it to air about valuation gripes or blah, 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 or them kind of just venting about it, or what happened there?
I do remember Mr. Wonderful saying that he just like loved the coffee so much. Like he was like, this is like out of a score of 100, I give it a 98. I'm just choking on your valuation. Like I remember him saying that.
Sounds like him. Yeah. Cool. We're gonna take a pause here just to list out our sponsors. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is episode 125 of CPG Vibes, Outside the Tank, Volume 2. We have Debbie Mullin with Copper Cow Coffee. We have Justin Fenchel with BeatBox Beverages. And Jimmy is having some internet issues, so he will not, at least for right now, not joining us on this episode. We'll get him on a future episode. He's with Super Coffee. Our ongoing sponsors are V-Driven. That's the Wade Meister over there. And Range Me. So Range Me, they help brands drive awareness and engagement with retailers through an easy-to-use platform that has more than 15,000 buyers. Go to rangeme.com/CPG Vibes, and they have discounts up to 30% for their premium and pro subscriptions. You get access to Nielsen IQ data. It's all built into their membership. You get access to in-person meetings where Wade has been there when he was a buyer for many years. So just really great value. Make sure to check them out. Just get a consultation call with them, and you can meet with Veer or with Kurt. I think Veer is the man that you want to talk to relating to if you're interested in Arrange Me. And you can also find him on LinkedIn. This is VIR, Veer, last name Satyan, Satyan. Just message him and you can set up a meeting with him or go to that landing page. And then V-Driven, Wade, they just kick ass.
I was going to say, I hear the people there are really, really good, Alex.
Excellent.
Top-notch people, really, really solid people. Kidding aside, just reach out to me, and I'd love to talk to you more about what we do.
Yep.
And then this week's sponsor is the mdmpackage.com, and for all your packaging needs. And if I'm not mistaken, Alex, they specialize in food and beverage packaging of all sorts, right?
They do. They definitely do. We're making this sound like a great infomercial. I love this. Like, yes, Wade, let me tell you more. No. So with MDM Packaging, just really quick. So Genius Juice worked with them for many, many, many years. They work with tons of brands in the CPG space, especially, or food space. They're a packaging supplier. They specialize in servicing the beverage industry, usually, so, both NA and alcohol, right? For BeatBox, maybe BeatBox, who knows? And they're located in Southern California, but they're servicing customers in more than 25 states. They can do any kind of corrugated boxes or trays or folding cartons, everything from plain boxes to highly decorated boxes with, the shine to it and the layers on it and metallic. And so what I love about them, their service. Mark is just great at it. The prices are very fair. He's on it. Everyone has a deadline for production that they're rushing to make. Mark, their customer service over at MDM is top notch. So make sure to reach out to MDM Packaging, and we'll include an email for you to reach out. And I'll get that for you. Okay. So going back to it, Wade, do you have a question teed up? I was so busy reading the sponsors.
Yeah, I do, and it's kind of we're getting here the last few minutes of the show, and I want to ask, it's kind of cliche, but I have to ask it. So Debbie, knowing what you know today, if you got to go back in the Wayback Time machine, would you do it? The DeLorean, right? 88 miles an hour. What would you do differently if you would do something differently, or would you just do everything exactly the same all over again?
That's a great question. I don't know if I would do anything different about, the experience about attempting to get on the show, going on the show, trying to get a deal. I think that maybe similar to BeatBox, we've changed our format since being on the show, and just wishing you had done that before you got that free commercial. I think that's like the only thing that, you wish you had figured out, like the cornerstone, like the key elements of your business sooner before you got something like that. I think it's the only thing that I would say. But in terms of just like, I think I tried to have fun with it. I think I tried to learn and not have too much expectation of what it would be. And really, really glad I did it.
Great. And I'm going to ask Justin the same question, but I've got one more follow-up for you for that, Debbie. And what one piece of advice would you give an aspiring Shark Tank wannabe to be that once, and I know we have several listening and probably listening after the fact, what one piece of advice would you give them as far as their journey to get on the show?
I think it's just about being open to taking what you can out of the experience, just because I know so many people who it's just really hard to even get to the point where you're even cleared to tape. We did that 2 years before we even actually taped. It's one of the reasons why we got to go on was because it was COVID and they were like, hey, we just are picking from people who already got cleared last year. And so we just want to tape as soon as possible. It's so many hours when you're first starting out, you don't have much resources. It feels like a lot to do all of the paperwork and all of the hurdles to be able to get cleared because they don't want to have, someone who's going to be defrauding or something. And how do you kind of help these, like, weed through all of these, burgeoning entrepreneurs. And I think it was just a lot of work, but to just try to take it as learning experience, take it as media training, take it as learning how to pitch to be on TV, learning how to pitch, and have fun with it.
Love it. Love it. Just same two questions for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's again, cliche, but looking back, I wouldn't change anything, but I think the thing to talk about is that, the company really started after the Shark Tank. It's like people think, oh, you get on Shark Tank, you got this big investor from Mark, you've made it, right? And then that's when the work kind of really, really began. And I think if we were to do anything differently, as I talked about, we expanded really far, really fast. There was a lot of excitement because of the deal. Walmart wanted us, but we didn't know what drove rate of sale at a retail store. We just hadn't fine-tuned that yet. And so we were just wishing and praying and shipping product and hoping that it would get onto a shelf and sell, which is not a right recipe for success. So so we went way too far, way too fast. We wouldn't have done that if we could do it again. At the same time, though, it forced our pivots a lot faster, because if we were brick by brick, staying in Texas, going, as we were going, it might have been 2 or 3 years, longer or even more, until we realized all of the changes we needed to make to the business model. And so it really accelerated us getting to the single serve and getting to the right distribution network, which were the key pivots we made to ultimately drive rate of sale at retail. And so, it just, the experience was amazing. And then also having Mark's name attached to us with a deal that size, we never were able to raise money from like big venture capital firms or private equity firms. We didn't really check the boxes for what they were looking for in terms of, they had their vision of the world and we didn't fit into it as far as the growth in the future. And so, but having Mark's name tied to us really helped us get more investment from other people too. So, I wouldn't change that for anything, because it allowed us to have conversations with high net worth individuals that were excited about, what that Mark had invested and was able to help us raise some more money. So
I'm a rusty old boat hitch and I am
makes sense. I was just actually, while you were talking, not to be like, multitasking too much, but I was looking up on YouTube the videos of the offshoot of the episode, like the biggest deals Mark Cuban ever made. And, and so there's a few on here that do list BeatBox, including one that, I see one for 169,000 views, 36,000. There's one that's 3.3 million. There's a bunch of them on here. So it's really cool. And then one thing I'll mention here too is you're exactly right. I want to emphasize that the work really starts after the airing. It's not like you just make it, right? Not to be cliched here, but again, 3-4 years after you aired, 3 years.
Yeah, about 4 years, we're still at $1 million in sales.
You hit $1 million in sales, right? And then like Debbie, right? There's details there, but even though your sales went up, the amount of grind and working and managing online, getting into retail, fielding all these retailers that want to bring in your product after the airing. It's a tremendous amount of work. And then you got to raise more money at some points to fund more inventory. So the real work begins after the airing. And the entrepreneurs we have on here, Debbie and Justin, they grinded their asses off in order to build the company to where it is today. So just want to make sure you know that. It's not like you can sit back and crack open a beer and let the sales come in. You got to work even harder after the airing. So
That's
exactly. Right. And I know we got to get to our question, but I at least have to shout out our buddy Waleed, who's a regular viewer and friend of the show. He's evidently hitting you up about the job you had posted on LinkedIn, Justin. So look out for Waleed's resume and application. He's a good guy. He knows his stuff.
All right. We'll make sure it gets to HR.
There you go. There you go. So Alex, you got a question for us?
Yes, I just want to quickly reemphasize our sponsors. And before we get to the question, it'll be about a 1 minute here. So our sponsors are V-Driven, great people over there, wonderful, and a couple bald people. They are fantastic. We got Brandon and Wade, the Bald brothers, and then we have Luke Abbott, we have Sasha, and a bunch of others that are just wonderful, wonderful people that work with V-Driven. And they are our ongoing sponsors. And we also have Range Me. And if you look at, there's a QR code in the bottom right corner, and there's also a landing page, rangeme.com/CPG Vibes. Just to get a consultation, you can save up to 30% through CPG Vibes by mentioning our name, and make sure to fill out that form on rangeme.com/CPG Vibes. And we have MDM Packaging, which leads us to our question. So MDM Packaging, they're a premier packaging partner located in Southern California. They ship to over 25 states. Fantastic customer service. Genius Juice was with them for several years. They are top notch, and they're giving away, there's going to be a box, but inside that box will be a $100 Visa gift card for the lucky winner. And if you'd like to reach out to MDM Packaging, by the way, it's somewhere in their way. There's like an email. There it is. Mark Mendoza, and that's MarkMendoza at MDM. That's like M&M, like a candy, MDM Packaging, PKG.com. All right. So I have a question. I got one. So I'm going to get to it. What valuation did Copper Cow present on the show, Shark Tank? And who did she get, at least on air? Who did she get the deal with on air with Shark Tank?
I'm going to the tape here, just in case.
I know it.
All right. So
while we're waiting for the answer there, Justin, Debbie, thanks once again. You want to plug something, plug your website, plug anything, where to buy your products? Debbie, ladies first.
We're expanding nationally with Target next month, so very excited about that. So check out Target shelves. Yeah, thanks.
Congratulations. Awesome. And what section is that in? Like, where do you find it in the
coffee section.
Just coffee.
In the ground coffee section.
Okay. I'll make a trip over there and I will buy it and I will do a selfie and I will post it on LinkedIn. My wife loves coffee.
Excellent. Kenny won the prize, by the way.
Yep.
He got the valuation as well as the shark. So Kenny, congratulations. Justin, how about you? Plug for what you're up to or where people can find BeatBox.
Yeah, I mean, we're sold now amazingly in over 107,000 retail locations across the country. You can go on our website, beatboxbeverages.com, and put your zip code in the store locator, and more than likely there will be a store very close to you to find BeatBox. And I just want to say thank you to this 12-year overnight success story has been nothing short of incredible. And so all of our amazing partners and friends and everyone that's been supportive every step of the way, and our team that is now over 200 people they're just incredible. So I just want to thank everybody that's been a part of this very humbling and amazing journey, because it wasn't easy and it still isn't, but it's been a lot of fun and we've enjoyed the ride and we'll continue to keep fighting. So thank you.
Love it.
Love that. Yeah. I would say you can use your mobile phone to find out where BeatBox is. by literally just taking your phone and throwing it in any direction, and it will land in a store that they are in. So
we still got a lot more to get to, but we've added a lot. We've added a lot.
I do fractional sales to liquor stores and stuff. I work with a brand. I consult with them, and I've been in over 200 liquor stores in Los Angeles, and I've seen yours in every single store.
Yeah. Well, shout out AB1 down in SoCal, in the Los Angeles area. They're at like 90-something% distribution in Southern California, in the downtown LA area. It's pretty wild. So
yeah, downtown LA for sure. A lot of alcohol flowing through that city. And Debbie, again, congratulations, everything you've done and bringing this concept, which was, I think, highly popular in Asia, right, at the time when you brought it to market, and now it's being embraced and growing in the US. So congrats on your grit, everything you've done, and you're doing great. So it's cool to see that. Congratulations on Target as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some. I love Vietnamese coffee. So I know there's a lot of folks on our team that are like huge fans. And I think Amy Stedman, my co-founder,
Amy was one of the people that I talked to before we aired to understand what should I expect. It's so funny. It's so funny how small.
So we'll have to do a sample exchange, because I definitely want some.
Anytime, we're happy to send you guys coffee and would love to share BeatBox with the team.
Amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, drink BeatBox at night. Next morning, drink coffee. It works together.
Maybe we'll do a collab in the future. We'll do like a coffee style BeatBox.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. That'd be awesome. It's like nighttime partying, morning time wake up, something like that. Your marketing team will be way better than I am at coming up with the phrase on that. All right, so next week, which is July 19th, Wade is going to be traveling, so we're going to have a special co-host, and TBD. We are TBD. We're working on that, and then the week after that, which is July 26th, is the Volume 3 of the Expert Series. Check this out, guys. Check this out. We're going to have Ali Schumann with CA Fortune. So he is I think he's the president, I believe, or CEO.
VP. He's a big guy. He's a big dog. He's a good guy too.
And then we have Darren Viscount. He is with Bristol Farms. He's a category manager. Everyone knows Darren. That's in Bristol Farms. We're going to have Jeff Church, the co-founder of Suja, who now has a consulting program, an accelerator that you can be a part of. We'll talk about that when he's on. And we also have, she's also, I think recently, last year or so, launched in Target, Karen Danujaja. I'm pronouncing her name right. Do you know her, Debbie? With Bloom, the product Bloom. Yeah, so that's Bloom. So she'll be on the show, and that's July 26th, Expert Series. So again, Justin, Debbie, thank you, guy and gal, so much for being on the show, for sharing your wisdom, sharing your experience, and we will catch you next week on CPG Vibes. So take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome to CPG Vibes.